What's going on, my fellow Guardians? Your dude Sly here, and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. We are currently, at least at the time of making this video, going through some Warlock maintenance. Destiny 2 was down on Thursday, November 19th, and with it, some, as Damage04 called them, critical fixes are implemented, mostly Warlock super nerfs along with a few small other items. So, let's dive into these changes and see what we can complain about today. As always, the link for the information can be found down below in the description box. So starting off with weapons, one of my favorite weapons of this DLC, the Coriolis fusion rifle. Not a big deal here, they only nerfed the amount of ammo given per ammo brick. I guess it was getting more than it intended, so not that big of a change. Good news though, Wither Horde is going to be back in action. The damage debuff for some reason wasn't being removed as it was intended, so it was taken out of the game pretty much since launch, but will be back once maintenance has concluded. Now, moving over to subclass abilities and abilities in general. First off, fixed exploits with the Warlock Shadebinder Super. And notice the S in exploits. Mostly the ability to insta-kill bosses, and also to get unlimited super back to back to back. So next, Penumbral Blast. Warlock Stasis melee ability has had its projectile speed nerfed by 20%, which is pretty big, especially for being a first time pass. But on top of that, the range was nerfed as well, which that's something I do not agree on. Range was 28 meters, now down to 16, which is pretty big. Now the actual stasis super duration was also taken down, was 30 seconds, now down to 24. In terms of super, that's actually a big hit as well. Cold Snap Seeker Speed reduced by 23%, and then finally a minute buff, I guess you can consider it. The Winter's Wrath Light Attack, which is the Warlock Super freezing ability, cost was 5% per use, now down to 4.5%, and of course that's due to the super duration being lower in general. Next, let's talk about stasis in PvP, which is usually, the biggest topics. Huge nerfs here, guys. Cold Snap freeze duration was almost 5 seconds once you were encased. It's now down to 1.35. Again, pretty big drop. Ice Flare bolts also hit with the same amount, down to 1.35 seconds. Penumbral Blast, which again is the Warlock melee, down by the same amount, from 4.75 to 1.35 seconds. So overall, that is a very big hit. And finally, some reward changes. Fixed an issue where pinnacles were not dropping at the correct power, wish they would have done that earlier. Fixed several issues where repeatable bounties were dropping more XP than intended. Those bounties were basically moon bounties as well as Europa bounties. And then fixed an issue where Exodus Crash Spider Tank wasn't spawning in during the Exodus Crash strike. Exodus Crash has now been re-enabled, and also fixed arugula errors, along with an issue where fragment pursuits could be purchased even if there wasn't room to do so. So this hotfix was mainly geared towards Warlocks, but they plugged in a few easy gameplay fixes along with it. Now I have to agree that the Warlock needed tuning, but not this drastically and also not this soon. It normally takes Bungie a year or more to do passes on subclasses, but here they make all of these decisions in like a week's time. I also agree that the Warlock Super and the exploits needed fixing ASAP, fixing for the sake of the upcoming Day 1 raid race. However, the super duration and the melee range, in my opinion, wasn't needed. Throwing knives don't have a range, so why should these? It should also be brought in line with the Dawnblade range melee. They should have the exact same range. The lowering of freezing time, that of course was needed, as it was way too long, and time will tell if little over a second makes things better, or if using older subclasses now proves to be more beneficial. Oh, and one thing I did forget to mention, guys, stasis breakout damage. That's when you're frozen and you tap a button to break out of the ice. The damage has been reduced from 110 hit points down to 90. Also, in case you aren't aware, resilience plays a huge role in determining the amount of breakout damage you experience when breaking out of the encasing. The higher your resilience, the less damage you'll take overall, and since this hotfix, the upwards curve has been boosted even more so that the higher tier of resilience, the more it will respond to minimizing breakout damage, which is a good thing to see. Again, time will tell if they hit the subclass a little too hard, too early, but one thing is clear, changes were definitely needed. Not only the exploits, but freezing for that long in PvP makes just about everything else in the game obsolete. Now we're going to see if the Hunter's freezing shurikens are next, but I doubt it. Anyways, that's it, guys. Just a quick video on the changes made during this maintenance, and be sure to look out for my coverage of this week at Bungie coming out later today. I know there'll be some juicy news, including details about the upcoming Day 1 raid race. Hopefully we'll see the jacket, title belt, and more, so stay tuned for that. But as for me, that's it, y'all. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and for supporting Sly Nation. I'll be streaming my day 1 raid attempt here on YouTube, so be sure to check in and see how my team fares. I have a pretty awesome team this year, so hopefully the day 1 emblem will be mine. If you're new to my channel, then welcome, Guardians. I hope you enjoyed it, and hang in there, as my videos usually aren't this dull. Maintenance videos are typically one of those things, you know, that you just have to do to get out of the way. So thanks for hanging in there. Subscribe for plenty more Destiny 2 secrets, guides, and videos coming out here soon. But until then, this is your dude Sly, and I'll check you all in the next one.
Into the